Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the topic of consideration today. Mr. Secretary, I appreciate the visit to my office yesterday, and I particularly was pleased by your continued commitment to work to make Veterans Choice permanent, and I think that is a critical item that we do need to pass. And we discussed a number of things, and I would like to first ask Dr. Shulkin to follow up on one thing we talked about, that I have 70 community hospitals and about 1,000 other providers now in the network for choice. You have an announcement, I guess, of a way we can reduce the paperwork and simplify some of that process for our providers.
In terms of getting them paid?
Yes, and some of the paperwork mandates that you had when you first implemented choice.
Right, yes. Having spent my life trying to get paid from managed care companies, I'm very sensitive to this. I believe that if you treat our veterans, you deserve to get paid and paid timely. So the major thing that we can do, and we will do this in the next 2 to 3 weeks, is we will decouple the requirement to submit all the medical records in order to get paid. So in other words, if you have an authorized claim or an authorized claim that's been submitted to us, we'll pay you and not require that you have to give us all of the medical records first. That will bring our payment rates up by almost 20% above where they are now.
And that will be implemented when?
We are waiting for final contracting approval within VA, we hope within 2 weeks.
All right.
That is a best practice in the private sector.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. Again, I have a lot of providers, 70 community hospitals, and they want to help, and they also would like to get paid, and they also would like to cut through the paperwork. So I appreciate that. Other question is, I'd like to mention that I know Mr. Pummel had mentioned, I think it was at a hearing late last year, he said it was almost impossible to discipline most VA employees. And Mr. Secretary, do you agree with that statement, and if not, why?
I wasn't at the hearing, so I think the solution that we've talked about for SCS employees is for me, the answer to the question. We have terminated about 2,600 employees. That does include the expiring of probationary periods. We have 20 employees from 10 locations that have been disciplined for scheduling errors. So I guess I wouldn't agree with your statement, Danny. I don't know the context of it, but I would like to move forward on exploring what we need to do to get our discipline for SCS employees affected.
So, Mr. Pummel, could you explain, expand on that? And do you think the proposed legislative change would fix the issue? Apparently, we do have. I believe we do have a problem.
I still stand by my statement that I made last time. I made it in the context that it's too hard. It takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money, time, effort, and money that we should be used taking care of veterans to follow rigid rules and procedures and policies. I do think what the Secretary's proposed with the Title 38 with the SES would go a long way, not just to helping us hire better people, but with the long-term disciplining of people out there. But that's a good start. But I also agree with the Secretary that we got to concentrate on this budget and move forward and get going on stuff.
Absolutely, and Secretary and I talked about the VA Accountability Act, and there's some provisions in there definitely would help that if the Senate would move forward, and the administration could be supportive of that. And one of the things we talked about in the last month in the committee and was when I discovered, maybe the rest of the committee knew about the individuals in Phoenix that were on 600 days of paid leave. I thought we were going to fix that situation. Their paid leave is over, but they're now working for the VA again. And if we can't fix that situation, can you explain, Mr. Secretary, of how folks that I think we all agreed would not be working for the VA, you got 600 paid days, and at the end of the day are still working at the VA and other
Yes, sir. Well, you recall in the testimony Sloan Gibson gave, Deputy Secretary, he said that we were going to change our policy, that the policy of waiting for the IG investigation to be over was taking us much too long. So we're now doing our own investigations and bringing charges much more quickly. In the case of those individuals in Phoenix, we expect within the next couple of weeks you'll be hearing something about that. We're wrapping that up.
Hey, and those were the folks that were on paid leave, or the other two folks that these are the ones that targeted the whistleblowers?
There were 2 people in question who were on administrative leave. We have brought them back to work. In fact, immediately after that hearing, we brought them back to work, and they're now working in the VISN headquarters. And there's a 3rd individual that was part of the investigation who is currently working within the facility.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.